on, we have found out that AI is actually rendering the information instead of giving them, here's some articles to help you. Or our traffic had previously done well because when people asked a question about help with home care near me or help with assisted living near me, that they were finding our articles, which is driving traffic to our website. But now that AI is actually answering those questions, they're no longer clicking. So that's what we mean by
Mhm.
a no click environment where you think someone would ask a question or look up something on Google or other search engines, and they would be given a list of resources or possibly a list of articles. And instead, now Google or Yahoo is just simply giving the answer up in the kind of like AI search results. So how do we show up there? The most important thing is that AI really values consistency, clarity, and visibility. Those are the things that are most important to AI. So next slide. So what we find is AI finds and makes recommendations for people. And so they're not just touring, they're not just looking at Google reviews, they're not just looking at one particular thing. They're looking at how people are shopping, what resources are available online, and then they're kind of returning a short list. So let me give you an example about how someone searches. So a few weeks ago, a daughter was searching online for memory care for her mom. She did not scroll through 10 websites. She didn't compare pages of listings. Instead, she asked her phone, what memory care options near me have availability right now? Her phone, not a website, generated a short list. She clicked on only one of the options that was available in the short answer. The community became a place for her to tour. She went there, it worked, and she never considered any other ones. And that's how fast that search journey collapsed. So, very quickly, she looked on her phone, saw some answers, called, toured, made a deposit, and essentially like moved in. So,
So
why
why
does
does
this
this
matter?
matter?
So this matters because now 60% of Google searches now end without that click that I was telling you about. They're not searching, seeing a list of websites and then clicking on them. They're putting in a search. They're getting the AI results. They're reading that, maybe seeing something in the search, calling that one company and getting the answers that they need.
Without looking at.
Only if they do not get the answers is that when they are reaching out and trying something else, rephrasing the search and how that works. So AI summarizes those summaries are really what people are relying on more and more. The good and the bad news is of this, it's making search a lot easier for people, and more seniors are now using the internet or their phones to find things. But 60% of Google searches are ending without a click, which means that they are not clicking through a website or your website. AI overviews appear in up to 30%. 30%, so 25 to 30% of senior care related searches. In the AI style conversation queries, those have increased 350% over the last year. Now, of these users, 75% say that AI summaries feel helpful or very helpful when they're searching on their phone. In mobile searches, where we used to see even with our own websites, where mobile searches were a fraction of kind of who was searching for resources and care, we are now seeing that mobile searches are dominating 70 to 80% of adult children, and they are starting on their mobile phone. So for us, this means that best practices, we need to understand this discovery. We need to understand now, before that family, what is happening before that family ever reaches your website? How do we kind of understand and recognize that AI is summarizing huge amounts of information instantly? To do this, we are really going to have to focus on our clarity and our consistency and give trust signals across all of our digital footprint, all of the information that's about us that's on the internet. So to stay visible in 2025, your information had to be clear, current, and consistent everywhere families may search for you. So that zero-click searches have grown steadily since 2019, but when Google rolled out their kind of like AI, that is when it really kind of like jumped off the charts, and more families are relying on these summaries. So let's talk a little bit about how families search. Next slide. So when families are searching, they're actually putting in real questions. They're not just saying like memory care in and giving a zip code. They're saying memory care near me with openings. What's the best assisted living in Vancouver for diabetic care? What respite care in Phoenix is available next month? They're actually starting to type out full questions, not just keywords. So a couple of years ago, it might have been assisted living, memory care, Phoenix, or near something, where now it sounds much more like a question. And they're relying on those summaries before they're actually relying on going to your website. So with these examples, when AI is giving them these answers, they're getting the answers and they're done, instead of getting a list of websites where they need to go to get more information. And that has changed things significantly. So next slide. So real queries that families have used. So they either are conversational searches, or they are for a specific need, like I mentioned, diabetic care, or there's some emotional context. Families often use conversational phrases that are much more like find senior care near me. And AI knows where they are from where their IP address is. Or they have specific needs. It reflects assisted living for my father. So it's telling like a little bit of the relationship and the age. That's allowing families to receive tailored responses that are accurate for what they are looking for. Or more emotional, where it's like best memory care for mom. They're looking for like best, or it's like most more specific resources. So when they're using these real phrases, nearly 40% of the search results include some form of AI content. It could be maps, it could be images, or it could be summaries. And the thing that's important now is that that AI summary is showing above what Google brings all of the other websites. So even if your website is searching well, even if you do have a good presence, the AI is still showing their answer before yours. That is why the Zoom today is so relevant and why it's become a big topic for our team. So best practices for this is you want to make sure that your essential information is clear. What are your care types? What is your location? What services do you offer? And you want to use clear, factual language that AI can interpret. And ensure that your presence answers families' questions, not just marketing statements. So families, they scan. They don't read large paragraphs. So families scan, AI summarizes. So your clarity determines whether or not you make that good first impression. Voice searches, where people are like using their phone, and voice searches, those are expected to surpass type inquiries for care related questions by the middle of 2026, where they're actually speaking like they're talking to someone, or their search questions sound more like this. So when you use terms like vibrant lifestyle, what does that mean? So think about when your first 100 words on your website, or your first 100 words on a third party platform, do those first 100 words really define what you do, where you're located, how you do it? So putting those words, look more at, instead saying memory care specializing in dementia and Alzheimer's related disease by providing caregivers that and on. You want to speak in very, very clear language. So the next slide, where we have like the framework of modern visibility. And I know I'm running through this because I also know Zoom calls, nobody likes them. They're kind of boring. So I've tried to keep this just to 30 minutes. And then I will save questions and answers like to the end, so that if you have a lot of detailed questions, we have lots and lots of times afterwards, but I wanted to get through the basics on this. So, just so you have an understanding of some of these terms. So, the framework for modern visibility online. So, SEO is search engine optimization. Those are the traditional searches for the last several years. Maps, website ranking. Are you on page one? Or are you on page 10? You're on page 10, you might as well not be on page anything. So, the SEO is like, where do you show up in the ranking? And then AEO is how are you appearing in that where it's rendering those results. So AEO is answer engine optimization. So, and then you have GEO, where it kind of like pulls all of those together. And GEO stands for generative engine optimization. So let's break these down, just a little bit more. So SEO, traditionally, how do you get your website to show up better? So SEO helps with maps, visibility, having a phone number that they can click on directly from the search results page. That is still very, very foundational. But again, these are appearing under what AI is giving with when they're searching on Google or other platforms. So your information needs to be clear, location based, and very, very consistent. So again, SEO is search engine optimization, and it improves how your site shows up, how search engines crawl and index your website, and how they send you qualified traffic. It blends technical health. How is your website designed? And when we talk about how it's designed, this is a little bit more technical, but do you just have words that are all on the screen that are the same size? Or are you telling it this is an H1, which means it's a header? Is this H2, which means it's supporting content? Or is it, no, I have made this mistake where I didn't like the way it looked. So instead of making something bold or a larger font, I would use these little markers, and I was doing it wrong. Because when you actually say, like, this is my main page, that H1 on the back end of your website, that's saying, this is what this page is about. H2 is saying, here are some main elements on this page. Then you have your H3, which kind of falls under there, almost like when you think about an outline. Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, capital letter A, capital letter B, little number 1, little number 2, lowercase a. So you're telling the website kind of the hierarchy of what's important, what is on this page. And web search engines, they crawl your URL, what your domain name is up there, careavailability.com, retirementconnection.com. So they are crawling all of that, and then they are ranking your pages on how consistent something is. Signals include the topics that you're covering, what internal linking you have, going to other more in-depth discovery or supporting information on your own website. What websites do you link to that are relevant and valid? Such as if you are a memory care community, maybe you want to link to your local Alzheimer's Association office. That also gives kind of an indicator to the search engines as far as what is relevant to you. And then that mobile usability. Have you looked at your phone lately to view your website, and how well does it show up? All of these things really make an impact on how you show up with SEO. Integrating maps into your presence. I see a lot of websites where someone has an image of their location or an image, but the image doesn't have any descriptive words, and it's not anything you can click on. You can't copy and paste the words. You can't get anything out there. It's just an image. It's not necessarily words that can always be crawled. So you want to have that local visibility, ensuring that potential clients can locate you effortlessly. You want to optimize your website for traffic using regular terms that people use. So here's a few best practices. Most of us with a business, if you own a business, you have a Google business profile. You may not have set up your Google business profile, but you have one. Google has said this business exists and we believe they are here. And if you've not told it what kind of service you are, it'll guess and just put it out there. It'll search the internet and it'll provide a phone number, maybe. They may not be the phone number you want to use. It may not be the correct address. So you may not be the person who claims your Google profile. You may have somebody at corporate or in your leadership, but making sure that your Google business profile is accurate with a phone number, with an address, the type of services. Does it have a description in those first 100 words that clearly defines who you are and what services you provide? Also, you can elevate that by adding photos, videos, pictures. If you have reviews, I will say, in all honesty, we had a negative review not long ago, and it was important that I went on and responded politely but completely to those reviews to show that there's that interaction. So the key takeaway is that search engine optimization is still foundational, but families will see that AI answer first. So let's talk about AEO. So AEO is answer engine optimization. So you can see over on the right, I typed in the search memory care communities with engaging activities. So I typed in that for my search. Now AI pulled these couple of search results. Now, here, what they did is it searched the internet and it looked for memory care communities in the city that I gave it, and it looked for what it was going to render. It did not bring back vibrant lifestyle. Some of the descriptions in here are from these companies' websites. One of them says this company offers a full calendar of events, including music, therapy programs, physical exercises. The next one, known for its thoughtful activities and programs, this community focuses on physical, mental, and emotional engagement. Activities range from new programs to help with dementia to therapy activities. The next one says, through its memory care program, Somerset offers engaging daily activities designed to stimulate. So you get the point. They're much more, they're not talking about vibrant lifestyle and kind of like language that's out here very nondescript. It's very specific language. So what is AEO? They are looking for structured content that answers direct questions inside the search results and assistance. Think featured snippets. People ask chat box. They use knowledge panels. They use question and answers, frequently asked questions. Now, these answer engines, they direct those answers to pages with graphs, with frequently asked questions, things that give short little snippets of information instead of paragraphs. So one of the good ways to lay out your website or your listings on other websites like ours are to have do we have activities? Yes, we have a rich activities program, including physical, spiritual, mental. Here's some of the examples. Maybe a link to your activities calendar, but doing it in do you have activities in the name of your community? Yes, we do. We focus on. Here's some examples. So again, question, answer, short answer, then you can have a more detailed paragraph. Unlike traditional SEO, AEO focuses on question and answer formats, structured data, and also the authority, ensuring that content is highly trustworthy and making sure that you have verified where you're getting that. So clear, straightforward language will help you tremendously, ensuring that your data shows up. This is how you show up in those AI answers, which include Google AI overviews, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity summaries, and also voice assistants like Siri or Google Assistant. And this matters because AI chooses what they display. If your information is unclear or inconsistent across different sources, they don't know which one is correct. So when you have a description about your company, make sure that that matches your Google business profile. It matches the first couple words on your own website. If you're listed on any third-party directories, that same 100 words is on there. Is your phone number the same on all of those sites? That's something that's really important because we've had some feedback with care availability where people say, like, well, you're putting my information, is that hurting my website? Because we actually list your real phone number, it actually helps you. It is sending the answer engines more of like, this is the real phone number, this is where they are. So, GEO, the next one is generative engine optimization. This takes those other two and brings them together and shapes your information so that this is what you do, this is where you're located, this is where you can find me. It shows location accuracy, care level tags, any enhanced marketing, but it's answering who you are, what you offer, where you're located, and how families can find you. So some of the key takeaways for here is it's not just finding you, but it's finding the right search for the right families and is becoming the best driver of visibility. So let's talk about what are your key AI criteria. So the next slide. So with the on here, you're looking for clarity. Are your descriptions simple, easy to use terms that normal people, not in our senior industry, use to talk about their services or answer? We sometimes have gotten the feedback because assisted living is not the licensure term used in all 50 states. We call it assisted living on our website because that's how most states or most people will look for it. But oftentimes we refer to home care, and in the articles or in our things we'll say, this is different from home health because, but we include that description because we know oftentimes people are searching for home health, meaning home care. So those key words help. Consistency. Do your details match across the website? So if you've got a phone number on your website, but another directory has a different phone number that actually calls them and they sell that lead back to you, or it's another one and you have all these arbitrary numbers everywhere, Google doesn't see that as one business. It sees it as multiple different businesses. So with our website where we list your real number, it is reinforcing that you exist. We have an authority score that says this is a good company. This is a good phone number for this company. So having that consistency really matters. The overall structure of how you deliver the information. Question, answer, what's in bold, short answers, longer description. And then also having fresh content. How often is it updated? Do you have photos, your descriptions, keeping information relevant and specific to searches? Now, let's break these down really quick because we're getting kind of towards the end of this. So clarity, as I mentioned, you are using simple care level terms. You are avoiding using marketing jargon. You are making the city and the care that you offer explicit, such as you are not doing vibrant lifestyle. You are saying memory care in Nashville. You're going to use straightforward terms. You're going to give specific care levels of what you do, and you're going to stay away of those vague terms. Now let's talk about consistency across the web. So when you're looking at consistency, now I see a lot of times you'll have like your memory care may have a different name than your assisted living, or you may have been taken over by a different management company and now your name has changed. You need to make sure that your name is consistent on your website, on your Google profile, where you have your company listed. So if you call your memory care the Grove, but it is part of a larger company, I'm just pulling names out of my head, but your Prestige, maybe you should be Prestige Assisted Living, comma, the Grove, or the Grove at Prestige Senior Living. Make sure that you are using your name consistently throughout the website to send the signals that these companies are the same company. So your name, your address, your phone number, your care levels, your description should match everywhere. It is telling those search bots that yes, this is all the same person and look how visible they are everywhere. Now, structuring your information. What does this mean? Having service lists that help families understand what services are available, that helps them with their experience. Giving descriptions and definitions help family gauge if it's a good fit. And utilizing clear headings. So having your care levels, your services, your amenities, how to contact you, and also your location, all of those things are critical. Now, freshness of content. How you update, how recently you update, updating your photos, updating your description, having accurate services, and removing any outdated information. Update regularly. That when you go in and update the things that you are able to update, when you go in, you're essentially sending a signal to the search engines like there is fresh meat over here. Come check it out. So the more often you are updating your own website or on a directory of services, it sends a signal that there is new information out there. Whether it's updating your photos, your description, your care levels, or even if you have a room or a care provider available. So while you're talking about content, let's talk about your visual content. Have you recently updated your photos? So now real photos, these are real photos on here, real communities. They get 3 times more engagement than stock art. Because what happens is when you use stock art, you're using it, someone else is using it, someone else is using it, and someone else is using it. So as we said before, with your phone number, you want it to be consistent across all the platforms. And so it sees this is the same place. Well, what happens is if you're using the same stock art as everyone else, the search engines are confused. Like, are these the same places or are they different? Because I see this picture in a lot of different places. So using your own original content really helps significantly with that. And you will have a 20 to 60% higher conversions if you can go a step above and add a video. So let's talk about myths versus reality. Myth, we're full. We don't need the visibility. Well, that's great that you're full, but you build visibility year round. So updating your availability, updating your pictures, that is keeping you higher in the SEO, AEO, EIEIO. So doing it throughout the year, not just when you want to. When your census drops, when you have a need to grow your marketing and you start doing it then, you're already a little late. Families may compare many websites. That's the myth. No, they skim summaries. And then the myth is only my own website matters. Who really cares? That's not true. AI pulls from everywhere, including your own website. So, a couple things as we wrap up. And like I said, I'm going to stay on, but I wanted to be respectful of everyone's time and get all the major content in this first 30 minutes. So, things that you want to avoid having multiple phone numbers. Now, if you are on a third party site and they don't let you change your phone number, it could be hurting you because it's showing multiple phone numbers. So, where you can adjust your phone number, such as care availability, your Google profile, your own website, make sure those phone numbers are consistent. What to avoid? Not having stock art, having vague descriptions or outdated information. You want to talk about what really, really works. So be quietly being consistent on there, having consistent phone numbers, real photos, and real quality descriptions. So some practical applications of where you can do this are your Google business profile, how you optimize your website. Now, I do understand not all of you manage that part, but these are at least some good questions for you to ask. And for the areas where you can manage it, you do. If you're listed in print directories, make sure that your name is consistent there as well, because a lot of those print directories get posted online. If there's any online directories like care availability or Purple or like any of the other ones, can you have control over your phone number to make sure it's consistent? If you have a YouTube presence and have videos, link to those videos from your website. Have your marketing link to your marketing. Now, a quick checklist for you is you want to have standardized numbers, consistent photos, engaging videos, and clear, frequently asked questions. I'm going to give you guys a minute. If you can put your name and email, if you want me to send you a follow-up of this content, because I know I'm running through, if you want to go ahead in the chat box to put your name, company, email, phone, whatever you want, but definitely your email address, then I will forward this to you. I'm not going to send it to everybody, only those who request it. Next, we're going to talk about like, why does this matter? This matters because families start with the AI summary. First impressions shape the short list. Visibility equals clarity, good, easy to understand terms, consistency, that it is the same everywhere across the website, and also trust. Are you using language they can understand? Are you addressing their concerns? That builds trust. Now, first impressions are lasting impressions. So, on care availability, for example, you have free visibility. If you are licensed, you are listed, and it is a direct to provider inquiry. So those are where people can reach out to you directly. You can structure your information on there and you can align with that. That is one example of where you can update your information. I am just now at the 30 minutes, so I am going to pause before I continue. I have a couple more slides on here, but it's specific to care availability and how you can update your profile on there. But I don't want y'all to have a commercial if you don't need it. So I want to stop in if you want to put questions either in the chat or if you want to just unmute yourself and ask the question, then I can try to answer those for you. So go ahead and unmute yourself if you have a question or put it in the chat box. Okay, since y'all are still here, I'm going to show you a little bit about how to enhance your profile best on careavailability.com. Now, this one here is a paid premium profile. Now, even if you don't have a paid premium profile, with your free basic listing, you can see the phone number. You can make that phone number, it should match your main phone number. If you have a liaison or a cell number, that's great, but you are sending a signal to the internet that this number does not match this number. Having a clear, ready to go, this phone number is consistent across the web makes a big difference. Your name, you can change your name on our website. If you need to request that it needs to be listed differently, let us know that. But be consistent in your naming on our website, on Google, on your own, on any other third party websites. Make sure that your name is consistent to send that signal that it's the same. Now, for those of you who have premium, or if you are thinking of becoming premium, let me tell you how this helps you. Don't think of it as like, I'm going to do a premium listing and I'm going to get all these leads. Don't think of it that way. Think of it as increasing your website presence and your authority online, increasing your consistency of your phone number, consistency of your website address. Now, this is our profile on here. Barrett, if you actually want to click on that link and bring us to this profile, but there is a detailed description. We see a lot of people, even with paid profiles, that have not built this out. I want you to see that we have, you don't have to even have 5 pictures. We have 5, but we have 5 photos on here. I have my logo. In my about this provider, I have a description, and my first 100 words is very clear, and I use that same 100 words pretty consistently. I've added a brochure. I've added videos on there. Now, talk about increasing trust. One of my videos is an 11-minute video. It's not a virtual tour. It is an 11-minute video describing all of the different terms of senior housing. So that really increases my trust factor on being consistent. I also, because we have social media, I've added my social media links where they can find out more about us. There's a link to my website. So this is very much built out consistently. So thank you, Barrett. You can go back to the other slide. So if you have a paid profile for us, or even if you're an advertiser or retirement vacation, have a free profile with us, it's really important that your information is consistent and trying to have that out there. If you don't think you're getting traffic from us, that's fine. but you are getting feedback. You are having people search online, and you are sending signals that says this information is